All right, I was gonna hold off on this video and wait till I got home from the gym this morning to do it, but this is huge news. A story reported by the Telegraph about 8 hours ago, 9 hours ago, that Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua is set for December 7th in Saudi Arabia. Now, we hear so many times about big fights going to the Middle East, and supposedly these Middle Eastern countries put up a lot of money, and reportedly this is a 70 million pound fight. I believe Saudi is putting up a lot of money here to get this fight and bring it to Saudi Arabia. I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of these big deals that were supposed to go to Saudi Arabia, a lot of times they promise to put up the money. I know Bob Arum has criticized, these Middle Eastern countries, saying how they make these offers for these big fights, and they don't always come up with the cash, and the fights never end up happening. So let's see how true this is. Let's see if this is real. Let's see if this is not a smokescreen. I mean, the Telegraph seems to be a reputable website. They're the only ones that are reporting it right now. I'm sure others will jump on. I know that it was rumored to be in Saudi Arabia. I wasn't sure. I heard other people tell me that that's the place, that's the venue that it's going to go. I wasn't 100% sure that was going to be the venue. I wasn't confident on that because, as I said, a lot of these fights that are supposed to be in the Middle East, that the Middle Eastern countries bid on and supposedly put up all this money, they don't end up coming up with the cash. So we'll see what happens. But if this is true, then shout out to Team Ruiz. This is the first victory in the battle of psychological warfare for Team Ruiz, whether you guys want to admit it or not, because Eddie Hearn had been saying all along that Cardiff is the front runner. That was his choice. And he even talked Anthony Joshua into it as well, because Anthony Joshua originally said, let's go back to New York and let's right the wrong at the place where, my mishap happened. Let me try to wipe the slate clean and right the wrong that happened in New York. So, Anthony Joshua, again, sounds very conflicted. In that interview with Adam Smith, he sounded very conflicted. He contradicted himself very often in that video. It seemed like he was crying out for help. It seemed like he wasn't sure of himself. It seems like he was a man searching for something deep within himself. I believe it was 70 million pounds, which is probably about 85 million US dollars, supposedly. So, if this is true or not. Hopefully it's true, because I think this is the best possible scenario, because then both guys, again, after tax. I mean, what the fuck? Dude, what, I look like a fucking accountant? Of course it's not after tax. Jesus fucking Christ. You want me to break down the tax brackets now too? Do I look like a fucking accountant? Fucking business lawyer, for Christ's sakes? Jesus Christ. No, that's not the... I don't know if there's again, I'm not going to speak on things I don't know about. If someone knows more than me about the situation, they can help me out if there's taxes in Saudi Arabia. But yeah, let's go back to that interview. I know I keep harping on that interview, but it's just very telling, It's very telling. And now I'm very confident. If the fight was in the UK, I didn't think Ruiz was going to win. There could have been water on the canvas. He would have slipped. They would have called it a knockdown. You know what I mean? If AJ got knocked down, the referee probably would have helped him up, pulled him up by his trunks, put the smelling salt under his nose and woke him up. You know what I mean? So now that it's on neutral ground, and the way AJ's talking and his mental state right now, and him questioning whether or not he's good enough, him questioning whether or not the passion is still there, him reaching out to other heavyweight champions and looking for advice, sports psychologists and all this stuff. mentally, I don't think he's in the right place. My concern was with Andy Ruiz that he would have that Buster Douglas syndrome where, he was too happy that he won the title. He already achieved his goal. And now he was just going to, dial it in. Just call it a day, you know what I mean? Sort of like what Buster Douglas did. He had that one huge performance against Mike Tyson. And then after that, he ballooned up in weight. And just really didn't care anymore. Ruiz seems to be focused. He seems to believe that he needs to be in even better shape for the rematch. He's going to have a full training camp instead of a 5-week training camp. So people want to talk about how this was a late replacement for Joshua and all the adjustments he had to make. I think it was tougher for Ruiz because Ruiz wasn't even in camp. He had to start camp all over again. He had a shorter camp. And it's harder to get all the sparring partners in such a short period of time flowing out to where you need them to be flowing out to. So this time, I believe he'll be better. But the big question is, will Joshua be better? Judging by what he's saying right now, I mean, he's still going to be thinking about Wilder because he needs to win this fight or there's no Wilder. Like, if he's got Wilder in his head so bad, like, Wilder don't give a fuck about him. Wilder's good. Wilder's good with or without him. I mean, he's going to have the rematch with Fury. He's having the rematch with Luis Ortiz. He don't care about fucking. You don't hear Wilder saying, "Oh, I was too concerned and too focused on thinking about Joshua. That's why my performance was off." And I mean, again, I'm not disrespecting anybody. I'm just calling it like I see it. This guy looks like he's very fragile mentally. He really does. I mean, he looks like right now, with the way he's talking and all these excuses, now he's coming out saying that the referee helped Ruiz because he nodded that he wanted to continue and the ref waved the fight off when he could have continued. I mean, come on, man. Come on. You're out on your feet. You fell back into the ropes. Your eyes look glossy. It is what it is, man. So all the excuses are coming out now. Oh, I didn't take Ruiz seriously. This and that. Well, what was your excuse for not looking great against Povetkin? Ever since that Klitschko fight, and I've said this, I've seen a steady decline in Anthony Joshua. And once again, it's like the pressure of being heavyweight champion seemed to be too much for him. It seemed to be too much for him. So what's going to happen when he wins the titles back? All that pressure, if he wins the titles back, which I don't think he's going to do now that this fight's in Saudi, if this fight's in neutral territory, I don't think he wins because he needs that psychological advantage, that placebo effect of fighting in the UK. For some reason, he just thinks he's a better fighter in the UK. He's at home. He feels as, it's a different story when you're at home. When you're visiting a friend, you go away on vacation, you're staying at a friend's house. That bed that you're staying in is not the same bed as the one you have at your house. It doesn't feel the same. Could be you're in a different time zone. You don't have the same comfort level when you're not at home. And, elite fighters can adjust and adapt to that. Let's see if maybe Anthony Joshua doesn't seem to be able to adapt to a different set of surroundings. He doesn't feel the same when he's not in the UK. Because again, when he's in the UK, I don't care who it is that steps into the ring with them, they're already going to be down 3 or 4 rounds before the fight even starts. And I'm just being honest. A lot of people thought he was behind in the Klitschko fight. A lot of people thought he was behind in the Povetkin fight. The Parker fight was real close. Carlos Takam fight got stopped, controversial. So all these things happen in the UK. We already know about the Dillian White, Oscar Levy situation. Again, when you come here, you're going to get the truth. Whether you want it or not, you're going to get the truth. I'm telling the truth. It is what it is. So hopefully this news is correct. Andrew Ruiz will be fighting Anthony Joshua in Saudi Arabia December 7th on neutral grounds. And I think that's a win That's a win for Team Ruiz, right off the bat. That's a psychological win for Team Ruiz. That's one round in the bank, as I said, in the battle of psychological warfare. And Anthony Joshua is already in a fragile state mentally. So this right then and there, during that interview, he was saying that, Ruiz is the champion. Of course, he's going to have a say. And then 2 minutes later, he says, well, he thinks he's in charge. He's not in charge. I'm the A side, whatever. Okay, so if you're the A side and your team wanted it in Cardiff, then why isn't the fight in Cardiff? I'll tell you why. Because you knew that Ruiz was going to not sign the contract. He was going to drag it out. As I said a million times, Ruiz has a lot of leverage because he has the belts. He has something you want. If you're going up against someone, if you're in a situation with somebody, you're in some type of deal with somebody, and they have something you want, okay? You want that bad. That's something you need. And they have that, then they have leverage over you. I don't give a fuck about A side, B side. Fuck all that shit. Of course, Anthony Joshua is the more financially successful fighter. He draws more money than Andrew Ruiz does. Of course, we already know that. But all that goes out the window. You know why? Because Andrew Ruiz has those fucking belts. And they need those belts to get the credibility back. They can't go into a Wilder fight with no belts and think they're going to be the A side, because it's not going to happen. It's not going to fucking happen. They can't go into a fight with Fury with no belts and think they're going to still be the A side. It's not going to happen. So that's the thing, guys. They were not prepared to go through a long, drawn-out battle, possibly have to deal with litigation, okay, and have this drawn out for 8 months, 6 months, a year even, okay, and then not even have the decision awarded in their favor. It wasn't 100% sure. As I said, a judge could have said, you know what? This contract has too much leverage on one side. It's an unconscionable contract. We're gonna order that Ruiz fight you, but it has to be on more fairer terms. And they got what they wanted. They flexed their muscle. Now this fight is on neutral territory. You heard Eddie Hearn say all along, oh, Cardiff is the front runner. Cardiff is the front runner. I want the fight in Cardiff. And I don't want to hear anyone say, oh, well, the reason why it's in Saudi is because there's more money in Saudi. Bullshit. Eddie Hearn said it wasn't about the money, because he also said there was more money in the United States. And he said it wasn't about the money. It was about getting the win for Joshua, because they know, if you look at the long game here, as I said 1,000 times, they need the belts. They don't have the belts. They don't have the credibility. They don't have the credibility. That they are no longer the A side. That's the facts, guys. Guys can say whatever you want. Cry about it. You can whine about it. Call me a hater. But everything I am saying right now is 100% true and irrefutable. You take the emotion out of it, which you guys can't, because you guys are mentally weak just like Joshua. You guys are fragile just like Joshua right now. I'm just being honest. He looks fragile right now mentally. You got a guy in an interview, and his body language looks like he's a confused man. He's conflicted. He's contradicting himself. 1 minute he's saying one thing, another minute he's saying another thing. First, I want to go back to the United States. Now I'm going to do what Eddie tells me to do. You know, Eddie always sits there and criticizes everybody else. Oh, I don't think that it's really Wilder. I think it's his team. I don't think it's really Joshua. I think it's his team. You guys don't believe in him. You guys don't think he can win outside of the UK. That's why you turned down the $50 million, and that's why you don't want this fight to come back to the United States. Your team doesn't believe in you. You have to see that. Your team does not believe in you. Your team. Because I'll repeat, like I said in the other video. Just like I said in the other video. You got knocked down 4 times and you were up on the scorecards. It just doesn't matter where you fought. You were the A side. You were the house fighter. The zone doesn't work with Andrew Ruiz on a regular basis. They work with you. You're a zone fighter. You're a zone fighter. And you got every benefit of the doubt that night because you were a zone fighter. And then during the interview, you know what he says? He goes, "Oh, the referee stopped the fight when I could have continued. He should have at least put the mouthpiece back in my mouth." Why is it the referee's job to put the mouthpiece back in your mouth? It's the corner's job to do that. If your mouthpiece is on the ground. That's another thing. He spits the mouthpiece out. And right then and there, that's a sign that maybe you can't continue. Maybe you need a break. So you can nod all you want. There was no way you were making it out of that round. Your legs, your eyes, your body language, and the way you fell back into those ropes told a different story. And that's just the fact of the matter that cannot be changed. Nothing you guys can say will change it. You can leave any comments you want. Anything you want to say going against what I'm saying is basically emotion. This is facts versus emotion. Guess what? Facts always win. If you think with your heart instead of your head, you always lose in the end. And you guys are wrong here. You guys said the fight was going to be in the UK. You said that fight was going to be wherever Eddie Hearn said it was going to be. You said it was going to be wherever Anthony Joshua said it was going to be. You said that they were in total control of this, but they weren't in total control. Because if Ruiz agreed to have this fight in Cardiff, if the fight would have been in Cardiff, that's irrefutable. That's irrefutable. You guys know that. You know that. You know that. If you deny it, then you're lying to yourself. The cognitive dissonance will sit in. You will do whatever you can because you have a man crush. You have a man crush on Anthony Joshua. Just admit it. Just admit you have a man crush on Anthony Joshua. Then you could turn around and say, "I don't like Eddie Hearn." I really don't. I really don't because of his actions. He's a liar. He contradicts himself. He does 50 interviews a day. He thinks he's bigger than the fighters. He wants to be the fighters. Let's not follow the money. It's not follow the money, Mario G, because the money was in the United States. The money was in the United States. That's why they came here in the first place. But now they don't have confidence that they can win in the United States. And they tried to stack the deck in Cardiff, but Ruiz put the kibosh on that because Al Heyman is a smart man. He wasn't going to fall for the okey-doke. And that's what it was. Let's see if this deal holds up. Let's see if it's true. Because they've made offers for fights before and they never came up with the cash. You know? Some people are saying that Amir Khan's still waiting for his money. I don't even know how true that is, but it's being put out there. So we don't know for sure. I mean, there's never, ever been a fight of this magnitude in the Middle East. This will be a first. So let's see what happens. Do they know how to handle an event of this magnitude? That's another question. Who are they going to fly in for the judges? What commission is going to be in charge of this contest? These are questions no one's asking. Do they even have a boxing commission in Saudi Arabia? Who's going to oversee this fight? Who's going to sanction this fight? I'm sure the sanctioning body is going to sanction this fight, but what commission is going to be in charge of this fight? What commission rules and what jurisdiction does Saudi Arabia fall under? That's what you have to ask yourself. What are they going to do? How is this whole thing going to be facilitated? Okay? Because I'm sure Andrew Ruiz is not going to allow all UK judges. I'm sure he's not going to allow a UK referee. So these are things that we don't know about. These are things that we don't know if they've been worked out either. So that's the big question. That's the big problem that you fall under by not knowing what commission is going to be in charge and overseeing this fight. That's the thing. These are all relevant questions. So That's what we have to look at here. But again, neutral site, no UK. Eddie Hearn lied again. Cardiff was never the front runner because he knew right from the jump that Andrew Ruiz wasn't going to go for it. That's why the negotiations took so long. And you guys can lie to yourselves all you want. You can lie to yourselves all you want. Eddie Hearn said out of his own mouth, it's not about the money. We want to give Joshua the best chance of winning the rematch because we don't believe in him. We don't believe he can win in the United States. But why does the fight have to be in the United States? Because there's more money in the United States than there is in the UK. Eddie Hearn said the fight's bigger in the United States. So as a promoter, what is your job? Your job is to put on the biggest events possible. So which is it? Do you want to put on the biggest events possible? Or do you want to stack the deck for your fighter? You want to stack the deck for your fighter because you know that you need him to win this fight so he can fight Wilder. And then that's where the money is. But I'll tell you right now, if he does happen to win this fight and he tries to fight Wilder in the UK, it's not going to happen either. No US fighter, after what happened with Dillian White, is going to go over there. Then there's rumors of him having therapeutic use exemptions over there too, and we already know that the bullshit that went on with Dillian White, failing his test in 2012, and now reportedly having an adverse finding, most recent test here with Oscar Rivas. So we already know what's going to happen, guys. We already know what's going to happen here. They're going to always try to, act like they're running shit. But there's a lot of people out there, a lot of fighters out there that are not going to kowtow to them. Tyson Fury, Kubrat Pulev, Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz. These are all guys that said no to them. Now, should have Luis Ortiz said no to them? Probably not, because he's not in the same situation as a Deontay Wilder. He doesn't have that same leverage. He doesn't make the same amount of money as Deontay Wilder. So in that regard, I think Luis Ortiz was wrong. I'll be honest, and I'll admit that. I think Luis Ortiz will never see $7 million anywhere else. I believe that. So in that instance, he should have took the $7 million, because he's never going to see that ever again, fighting anyone else. It's not going to happen. He would have to beat Wilder, which is a big if, and then even then he wouldn't see $7 million. So I'll side with Eddie Hearn on that one, because I'm not biased. I'm objective. But again, nobody wants to accept these one-sided deals where when you win, you still get treated like the loser. When you win, you should get rewarded for winning. You should get a better deal than you did the first time. Not the same deal. Not a worse deal. You shouldn't get freaking 40% and the other guy gets 60%. You shouldn't be told where the fight's going to be, because you won. And this is why you guys want to call everyone duckers and shit, and want to criticize fighters, but the reason why fights don't get done is because of this bullshit. Oh, if we win, we get to tell you where the fight is. We get to tell you what your set purse is. If you win, and we have a rematch clause with you, we get to tell you where the fight's going to be. We get to tell you what your set purse is. We get to tell you what color your trunks are going to be the night of the fight. I mean, who fucking does this? When has this ever happened in the sport of boxing? Name me a time when this has ever happened in the sport of boxing. When a guy loses the title and then gets a better deal the second fight than he did the first. He's getting rewarded for losing. He's getting rewarded for losing. In what world is that fucking normal? This is why people don't want to deal with this Eddie Hearn, because he is a modern day Don King. And that's just the facts. That's just the facts. Whether you guys want to believe it or not, this guy is a modern day Don King. That's why I don't like him. That's why I have a problem with him. Because he's dishonest. And again, all promoters are dishonest. This guy takes it to another level. This guy takes it to another level. Okay? He's more slimier than the rest. He's the slimiest promoter out there right now with his BS. For years, promoters have been fucking over fighters. They've been shortchanging fighters. They've been underpaying fighters. And now fighters are finally starting to get paid. And then you hear guys like Eddie Hearn say, oh, well, fighters are being overpaid right now. PBC's overpaying fighters. This is retribution for all the years that they were being underpaid. This is retribution for all those guys out there that have families, that do this full time, and basically making $50,000 a fight, $25,000 a fight, and they're fighting sometimes once a year, twice a year. These guys have to support a family off this shit. So you want to sit there and say this guy's getting overpaid, that guy's getting overpaid. Well, how many motherfuckers out there are getting underpaid? And how long has this been going on? It's been going on for years. And then you hear guys like Eddie Hearn and their dad, oh, we used to be slave traders back in the day. We told them what they were going to get. We controlled them. Now the tables have turned. And they don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like that. But you guys like that because you guys fucking buy into the bullshit. Yes, I'm on the elliptical. Yes, you guys buy into that bullshit. I don't buy into that bullshit. You guys buy into that bullshit. Look how many registered boxers there are in the world today. Tens of thousands of boxers. Tens of thousands of boxers registered in the world today. And the 1 percentile makes the good money. Good morning, Benji. The 1 percentile makes the good money. Look how many other people don't make anything. Okay? And Eddie Hearn still says, oh, we're overpaying fighters. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, you want to fight us? Even if we lose, we're still going to get more money than you. We're going to tell you where the fight's going to be. We're going to tell you who the judges are. We're going to tell you who the referee is. We're going to tell you what your friggin' entry music's going to be. We're going to tell you what color your robe's going to be. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how much leverage do you need? If you need that much leverage in a fight, if you need that much leverage in a fight, then how good are you? How good does your team think you are? You could, oh, we'll go Floyd Mayweather. Okay, but what about all those years Floyd Mayweather made concessions? What about all those years Floyd Mayweather made concessions? What's up, Corey? His first pay-per-view, he fought a Toro Gotti in a Toro Gotti's backyard. Look at all those other fights when he was on HBO, when he was in the lighter weight classes, and he fought all over the country. Okay? Only when he established himself as the man, that's when he started really using his leverage. Okay? That's when he started using his leverage. Anthony Joshua haven't even been a pro that long, and already they anointed this guy as the man. They anointed this guy as the man. He didn't pay his dues like Floyd Mayweather paid his dues, going through all these weight classes and fighting all these tough fights early on. Okay? So that's why Floyd Mayweather was in the position he was in, whether you like it or not. I wasn't a huge fan of what was going on later in Floyd Mayweather's career either. But at least he earned his spot. He earned his spot, and he earned his position to do that. Joshua didn't earn his stripes the same way Floyd Mayweather earned his stripes. When did Floyd Mayweather ever fight for a fucking vacant title? When did Floyd Mayweather ever fight someone like, no disrespect, Charles Martin for a world title? When does that ever happen? Okay? So you can say what you want, man. You can say what you want, man. Okay? They tried to anoint this guy too early. They tried to give this guy superstar status, elite status, before he actually earned it. Is he a good fighter? Absolutely. Is he one of the best fighters in the world? Absolutely. Is he elite? No. No. Does he beat Tyson Fury? No. Does he beat Deontay Wilder? No. Does he beat Andrew Ruiz in a rematch on neutral territory? Probably no. That's my opinion. So you guys overrated him, and I will continue to say you overrated him. Okay? You continue to overrate him. Okay? And that's just a fact. So, I will put a link. And has he been promoted right? No, he hasn't been promoted right. Because they turned down $50 million. If you're a promoter and you're leaving money on the table, then you're not promoting your fighter right. If you're openly saying that there's more money to fight in the United States than there is in the UK, and you're still fighting in the UK because you don't think your fighter can win, you don't have the confidence in your fighter to win, like Lennox Lewis did, like Ricky Hatton did, like Frank Bruno did, like Carl Froch came over. Everyone came over, and they came over multiple times. This guy comes over once, he fails, he doesn't want to do it anymore. That's a bad look, guys. If you're an Anthony Joshua fan, and this fight's not in the UK, going into the rematch, and this is on neutral grounds right now, and you're listening to what he's saying right now, you're listening to his body language, not listening to his body language, you're looking at his body language, excuse me, you can't listen to his body language, but you're looking at his body language, you're looking at his demeanor, you're listening to the contradictions, you're listening to the conflicting statements in interviews, you're listening to a guy who's reading off the paper, trying to say all the right things, but doesn't believe him. But doesn't believe him. So, you can't sit there and say and look me in the eyes and tell me you're 100% confident in your man going into this rematch. You can't. You can't. You can't. Yeah, he's making more than the other heavyweights, but probably right now he's making about the same as Deontay Wilder. Probably making about the same as Deontay Wilder. I heard Showtime's been kicking in some cash for Deontay Wilder now. Ever since that DAZN deal was put on the table for Deontay Wilder. Ever since the DAZN deal was put on the table for Deontay Wilder, I heard Deontay Wilder's getting paid now. That's what I heard. So right now they're probably getting comparable purses. I think in this fight with Ruiz, Anthony Joshua is going to make way more money than Deontay Wilder. I think Deontay Wilder made the same, close to, not exactly the same amount, but I think he made comparable money against Brazil than Joshua made against Ruiz. Joshua probably still made more, but I don't think it was significantly more where you could say that. Like what I'm trying to say is Deontay Wilder's closing the gap, and he's making close. He's in position to make close to the same amount of money as Anthony Joshua right now. Some sources from what I heard told me that Deontay Wilder, even though it was reported that he got 10 million, some people are telling me he got 20 million. I don't know. All I know is when I seen Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. had his purse reported at $1.2 million, then I saw him post another check with Al Heyman's name on it for 1.7. So instead of that 1.2, he ended up getting close to 3 million. So what's being reported and what these guys are getting, I don't know. But I heard some people are telling me that Deontay Wilder got 20 million for Dominic Brazil. Can I confirm that he did that? I don't know. So this must be Hearn's cash out of AJ right now. Oh, he's cashing out AJ? Well, this is the thing. They either had to do this or there wasn't going to be a fight. People say, oh, well, what do you think? Would Ruiz have sat out? Why wouldn't he have sat out? Al Heyman would have taken care of him. Mikey Garcia sat out for 2 years. Nonito Donaire sat out for 2 years. Andre Ward sat out for 2 years. A lot of fighters will sit out or wait out their contracts, try to buy themselves out when they're not happy. Don't act like this is nothing new. I mean, fighters are fighting once a year as it is. So you don't think a fighter can take 2 years off? And who even knows? They don't even know if they would have won if this went to litigation. They don't even know that. So it could have all been for nothing to wait. And once again, remember what I'm saying here. They need the titles. If they don't have the titles, they have no leverage. So if they don't make this fight and it gets dragged out and it goes to litigation, and it gets dragged out. As I said, I'll say it 100 times because you guys, a lot of you guys out there don't want to listen. You don't want to believe it because the cognitive dissonance is blocking you and preventing you from absorbing the information because you have a mental block in your head. But there was no way they would allow all these titles to get stripped from Andy Ruiz, and then what good would the fight be? Why would you fight Andy Ruiz for no titles? Why would you wait a year, have the fight go to litigation, then best case scenario you win, but the titles are stripped from Andy Ruiz, and then you fight Andy Ruiz for no titles? Nobody wants to fucking admit that was a horrible scenario for them, and that was in the back of their mind. That's why Eddie Hearn came up with this. That's why a compromise was made. That's why concessions were made, whether you want to believe it or not. And I guarantee you this. People are saying that Andy Ruiz is only getting $10 million for this fight. I challenge that. I challenge that. Because if this is an $85 million fight, okay, and you know, they're probably going to split 40, then I think Andy Ruiz is going to get more than 10 million. That's just my opinion. What's up, guys? How you doing? All right, guys, I'm going to jump in the shower here. I got to head out of here, get this day started. I may jump on later today, but thank you all. Thank you all for joining me. And kick in some super chats here, man. I'm at the gym grinding for you guys. You guys aren't even... I see you guys giving money to all these other channels. Kick in the super chats, baby. $1 a person. You guys can't... That's less than a cup of coffee. Before I sign out here, man, at least someone give me a super chat here, man. Show some love to the beef. Show some love to Ringside Reporter, pumping out these shows 24/7 for you guys. Doing live casts. Doing it all. Doing it all for you guys, man. Doing it all for you guys. Thank you, Jem. Appreciate that. Beeb early in the morning, he says. Let's get a couple more before I sign out here, man. Let's get a couple more here, man. I'm sure. All right, thank you, Corey Lee. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that, brother. It's gonna be a light week of fights, man. All right, Ben. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a minute, brother. But yeah, fucking beautiful day out today too, man. Nice and sunny. Some days you just wake up early, man. You have a lot of energy. Might as well work out that energy, man. Might as well work out that energy. Virgil Ortiz should win. Virgil Ortiz should win. Maybe I'll do a live cast of that fight. That's on DAZN, right? A lot of people are interested in that fight. Maybe I'll do a live cast for that fight. Hurry up, Ben, because I'm getting ready to jet out of here, brother. Get your shit together. Oh, it's on DAZN? Yes. I think I'm gonna do a live cast for that. I love doing a live cast with the DAZN fights. A lot of people. The Telegraph has reported it. I'm going to put a link in the description box when I get home. Telegraph is reporting the fight. Yeah, he should go back to the Ruiz's backyard and fight him. Yeah, that's the honor. That's what he wanted to do before he was talked out of it because his team doesn't believe in him. All right, Ben, I'll give you 2 more minutes and I got a jet. But yeah, that's what it's about, guys. That's what it's about. I just don't think that Eddie believes in Joshua, man. won't believe that he believes in Joshua. All right, I know what Ben told me to hold up and wait for him, but I'm gonna jump off, Ben. You can hit me up next time. All right, guys, take it easy. Peace out.